I got my keys that were not a key, but an access card. Whoa! What am I gonna do now? No fucking idea. Shit. Okay, so basically, my little office is a shipping container up here. Oh, here we go. Guys. Oh my god, this is like the first room, right? And then we go into another room, which is bigger, which is going to be the main working space. I think it's very stuffy. Let me open up a window. Really sure I brought a stool. Okay. So, this place is officially mine. So I have like a rent-free period for about 2 weeks, which means that I'm gonna furnish it and think about what I really want to do in this space. I'm gonna turn on the aircon. I'm not gonna do that because I have to pay for rent and utilities now. That's crazy. Oh my god, that's really crazy. I have to pay for electricity now. Damn it. Okay. Today is December 31st, 2024. I'm like, what am I doing in my studio in the last day of New Year's? Last day of the year. I thought I should come and set some goals, or at least think about the year that I had this year and things I kind of want to achieve next year, whether is it like slow maxing 2025 or like going full hardcore mode. I just really wanted to think about that before I go for New Year's dinner and go home and play with stuff. Yeah. It started raining. So let's try chit-chatting. Okay. Oof. How was 2024 for me? At the start of this year, which was the start of my second semester as a year 3 student in uni, for the whole of January to probably March, April, May period, I was very, very sad and mentally in a horrible place. I cried a lot in school, wanted to drop out for real this time. Even submitted an application to a university so far away, right? Because I was that desperate and I felt so lost in what I was doing. I didn't feel like things were working out in school for me, and granted, I was just in a really bad place. I have so many pictures of myself crying because I was like, damn, I mean, why was I crying so much? Right? So that was like really the first 3 months, and then just I flopped a lot in my school classwork because it felt meaningless. And at that time, that period was only to reach our group exhibition, which was Common Daisies. And that is, I guess, the first significant milestone that I kind of reached in 2024, and that was nearing the start of the second quarter of the year. Yeah, and then while that exhibition was happening simultaneously, May, June, July, I had my first internship at a museum in Singapore, and that was crazy too. When I looked at my selfies from that period of time, I looked so dead and sad because I realized that maybe working in a government place, working in a large institution was not really my cup of tea. There's not a lot of flexibility to what you can do, and somebody put it the other way, they just run you through the mill like a machine, like a clock in a machine. You just get stuff done, and then I was out, right? And then once I was out, I think I traveled almost consecutively for a month straight. Is that right? Yeah, a month. But because of my travels, I was also technically kind of sick before and after. So I kind of probably had a month and a half close of rest. I think I went to Vietnam, Da Nang for 2 weeks, and then I was in China, Yunnan for 2 weeks. Oh yeah, I traveled close to almost 1.5 months this year. Then after Yunnan, which really healed me a lot, like mentally, because I saw so many different landscapes. I was really away from things that made me felt very constipated and sick, right? Because I was so far away. I was in rural landscapes. I was looking at different people living different kinds of lives that was just stunningly beautiful, because it's a kind of lifestyle away from cities that was much slower. I really enjoyed that part of my travels, and even though I was sick, it was a very nice experience. And then I was back, and I had 1 semester of school, year 4 school. When I was back from China, I was also very sad again, I remember. And then I finally decided to drop all of my art history lessons. So right from the start, going to uni, I wanted to do a double major, which was my arts degree and a art history degree. But I realized that why I wanted to study art history so badly was because I was so afraid of failing as an artist. I was like, oh, if I cannot do art for a living, then at least I could, use my skills as an art historian. I could work in a museum, I could work as a curator. Well, then I realized you don't need to study all of this knowledge to be any of these things. And then I also found out that, the way that the second major system, like the way I had to take classes for credit, wasn't working for me. I had to retake several basic classes in order just to fulfill my credits, instead of taking classes that I really like, that could really feed my soul. And so after 3 years of overloading every semester with either at history courses or a research project, I was like, damn, I had enough. I'm gonna drop everything and only take what I have to take to graduate, which is my final year project class and interdisciplinary mod, which is basically work skills kind of mod. Yeah, I think that was the massive decision that I made at the start of my year 4 semester. And giving that up is like really hard because I'm like 6 classes away to fulfilling my second major in uni, and having double major is like a feat, right? I am just maybe saddened by the fact that I didn't know well enough to plan out. If I didn't have to rush 6 classes this whole semester or this whole year, I would not have maybe gave up so easily. But then again, I didn't really give it up easily. I was simply done with studying. Wow, at the till end of uni. Yeah, I was simply done with uni. So towards the end of this semester, I was, I guess, rather chill. All I had to do was just think about my final year project, which is also a little hard because it's like, it's the last thing that you kind of have to do before you graduate. And then as an artist, I'm like, how much work can I really do within 6 months-ish? Almost 8 months maybe. And what kind of quality of a final graduation work I can really put out for like this 1 year was what I was thinking. And when I returned back to school, even though I dropped everything, I still felt really stuck in a place. I was like, oh, I have no desires anymore. I don't even want to make art. I don't even want to study. I'm like, what's wrong with me? I literally don't want to do anything related to art at all. I'm like, did I lose my love? Did I lose my passion? Just right before graduation. So then the idea of my final year project came about, and I tried to work at home. I tried to create a little working setup in the balcony of my house, but that didn't work out as we are here in this space. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try find a studio. That was probably in November, and I found this container unit, and then I signed a lease for the very first time in my life, and now I have to think about paying rent, paying utilities, Wi-Fi, water, electricity, everything except gas. And then I start to feel like, oh, maybe this is like a kind of purpose and a challenge that I can give myself. Yeah. And then maybe for the last 2 weeks ago, I went to Vietnam again, this time Hanoi and Sapa, with some schoolmates for a trip, and I made new friends. And I've also lost maybe a close friend of mine. And yeah, that basically wraps up my year. Basically this year was, I think, the saddest I have ever been in my life, as accumulation of sadness, and it really like hit the hilt, and then I had to take action, and then that's why we're having a studio now. Yeah, those are things that happened this year. And my biggest anxieties of this year was like feeling lost, feeling a lot of self-doubt, lack of purpose, and the lack of self. And basically because I had like, I'm like, what's wrong with me? I had so many expectations of myself. I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to complete my major, and I didn't. And because I filled all of these expectations in my head, I procrastinated a lot of my work. You know, I kept trying to seek comfort in a way. So I guess 2025 really has to be like deciding what I want to do, and then making sure I do things that help me do what I want to do. I have to figure out what I want to do, right? And maybe opening up myself to different groups of people, because I'm a huge introvert and I don't open up easily to anyone in my life, I think. Not even like the most casual of things. I could be so open with a taxi driver, and like it will take me 1 or 2 years for my classmates to even know that I have a quirky ass side. Yeah, maybe that's my goal for 2025. Yeah, 2025. Usually at this time of the year, I would only make this reflection vlog like at the last hour of the day, like on the 31st. And I'll look back at like the video that I shot that year before. So I have the same goal still. Well, everything's a work in progress. I'm just in my 3rd year of adulthood technically. So, yeah. So I think that's what I think about 2024. I'm sure next year will be great, because as my frontal lobe is getting developed, I will start thinking more clearly and more organized, and then I would develop into my own personhood. I just wish that I would love myself even more. I know that the ways that I love other people sometimes is greater than the effort I can put into myself. And the effort that I don't put into myself stems from a lot of fear of not becoming my true self. But I think in not letting myself fail, I prevent myself from becoming my true self. Socrates. But anyways. Yes. Well, I was gonna finish that portrait over there, but I guess not.